And Steve Nash has been fired as head coach after 2+ seasons with the franchise. Steve Nash released a statement thanking the organization and fans for his time with the Nets. I want to dive into the news with our panel today. Richard Jefferson, Vince Carter, and Chiney Ogwumike. Rich, I'm going to start with you. Just your initial reaction here.
Well, again, let's go back to when he was first hired, and there was conversations, with Kyrie and KD about, we don't really need a coach. And so immediately at that moment in time, he was under an extreme amount of scrutiny. Then you fast forward, they put together a very, very strong team, great supporting cast. They brought in talent. Look, an ankle injury and a hamstring injury in the same postseason that had these boys were cooking. It looked like they were on their way to possibly winning a championship. So now you're in a spot where it's like the next couple of years, they just so many distractions and things that happen made it very, very difficult for them to accomplish their goals. And head coaches know. They know the deal when they sign up. No, I was with Steve Nash at Kevin Love's wedding this summer. And head coaches understand that how quickly it's performance-based, especially when you have that amount of talent. They know that they are the first ones to go.
And you say performance-based, it's actually year to year. Nowadays, it's like you can be a winning coach and still get fired. You can be coach of the year and still get fired, and that's the unfortunate thing. When you take a job like this, particularly in the New York market, RJ, we know how that is. It's like everything is under a microscope, and you're under scrutiny, whether you're winning or losing. Did you do this? So Steve Nash walking into this job, like you said, RJ, he didn't have a fair shot.
No.
And when you have a Kevin Durant, when you have Kyrie, James Harden, you're expected to win now, regardless of how many, if it's your first time at it or not. So that's just kind of how it works, and it's unfortunate to be in that situation. But I think Steve Nash will get another job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's bring in senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, who broke the news of this story. Woj, why did the Nets make this decision now?
Malika, just the unraveling to start the season, really a worst-case scenario for Steve Nash in the Nets. Ben Simmons not playing at a very high level from the very beginning. Certainly just how bad defensively this Nets team was, 29th in the league. Out of the gate, that 4-game losing streak, and certainly, and probably not the least of all, the Kyrie Irving situation that has hung over this team, that continues to hang over this team and league. And I think for Steve Nash, as much as Brooklyn felt that they had gone as far as they could with him as head coach, I think he felt the same, that he was just not the coach for this team anymore. They've been discussing this over recent days. Ownership, Steve Nash, Sean Marks, their GM, and made the decision today that they were going to part ways. And now Brooklyn is the hiring of Ime Udoka, the suspended Celtics coach, is imminent. That could be completed, I'm told, as soon as tomorrow.
So Jacques Vaughn is coaching tonight against the Bulls. He was also the interim coach in Brooklyn in 2020. I am curious, Woj, though, what level of vetting is taking place in Brooklyn in their possible hire of Ime Udoka?
Yeah, and I think that's what they've been spending time on that. And there have been other teams around the league who've been spending time trying to get ahead of the possibility of bringing Ime Udoka in at some point and trying to understand the story and why he was suspended and ultimately was not going to return as the Celtics coach. There is history, certainly, with him in Brooklyn. He was obviously on Steve Nash's staff before he went to Boston. And he was in San Antonio for a number of years with Sean Marks, the Nets GM. So they know him well. And even Ben Simmons, remember, he was in Philadelphia for a year with Doc Rivers. And so, or in Philadelphia with Ben Simmons, certainly, and has a relationship with him. And that's really going to be a big part of this job, is getting Ben Simmons going again. But certainly, listen, the Nets are going to have to answer questions about Udoka's hiring and the vetting they did do. We've reported on the reasons Boston, among them, the independent law firm's probe that led to his suspension, which is ultimately really a dismissal. And Boston is going to, all along, they were going to allow Ime Udoka to take another job, whether it was an assistant or a head coach. But certainly, there's a lot of risk here. There's a lot of desperation in Brooklyn right now to try to piece this franchise back together, to hold on to this season, and keep a group in place that certainly feels right now like at a number of other points in the last couple of years is on the brink.
Steve Nash was never even given a chance, but at least with Ime Udoka, maybe they have somebody that can get more respect from their star players. Because right away, Kyrie was saying, we don't need a head coach, I can be coach, KD can be coach. Right away, he didn't really respect Steve Nash. So maybe that will change and the Nets will start to get some traction. The problem is, this team is still a mess. Ben Simmons has zero confidence on the court. If you've watched any game, you know he hasn't been aggressive offensively, and even defensively, he's been lacking compared to previous years. Let's also not forget that recently, we've seen more off-the-court issues with Kyrie, and when Steve Nash was asked about it, he was very neutral in his response. The owner, on the other hand, was not. So maybe that's when they decided, he's not our guy. Maybe they want someone that will hold the players more accountable for the things they say and do. Woj wasn't lying when he said the Nets are desperate. They're doing anything they can to start winning some games, because season after season, this team has been a complete failure. Other than the 1 year where KD's foot was on the line, they haven't found any success, and most of it has been due to other distractions. They've had James Harden, KD, Kyrie, now they have Ben Simmons. They have all the talent in the world. Even their supporting cast was really good. This team is also trying desperately to please Kevin Durant. He's the guy that wanted Steve Nash out, as well as Sean Marks. So now they're doing anything they can to make him happy and to get this season going. They don't have a lot of options at this point. Ime Udoka is a proven coach who is just in the NBA Finals, and he'll definitely have the respect of the Nets star players. But they're still taking a big risk, especially from a PR standpoint. But if they get past that, they have a great coach and all the talent in the world to try to get their season going. But now I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments, is this the right move by Brooklyn, or is this a mistake? And leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more NBA content just like this, and I will see you in the next upload.